Hi there, welcome to this video tutorial where I'm going to hopefully try and explain what scales are. Now this is aimed at complete beginners who perhaps have heard of scales but don't really understand them, don't know how they work, and I'm trying to put into context, I suppose, how scales relate to the key of the music that we're playing in. So a scale is essentially a little sequence of notes. Now in Western music we have lots of different scales. The most common one is your major and minor scale. We're going to look at the major scale today, and in particular we're just going to look at C major. Now I'm going to introduce you to a couple of terms, which is semitones and tones. Now a semitone is the distance from one key to another. So you can see that from this C I've moved up one key, and that is a semitone. So if I was to then move up another semitone, I would move up to the next key and so on, and I pass through each note, and each one is moving up by one semitone. Good so far. Now we also have tones, which simply are just two semitones. So if I'm on this note and I want to move up a tone, I would go from 1 to 2. So I've actually moved two places here. So therefore the C, the note C to the D here, is a tone apart because I've had to move through two keys to get there. So hopefully we're happy with that. Now scales are made up of a sequence of tones and semitones, and I'm going to talk you through them. Now the C scale is quite simple because it just runs from C to C, but let's work out the tones and semitones. So the way it works is we start on C, we move up a tone, then we move up another tone, now we move a semitone. Now watch out here because there is no black key here in between. So the E to the F is classed as a semitone because that is the next available note. Then we move up a tone, another tone, another tone, and then finally a semitone. And if you can kind of remember that sequence, so that we have tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone, then that can be really useful. Now, this is the scale of C major, and this means that if we were playing a piece of music in the key of C, we would expect these notes to be quite prominent. Doesn't mean that a key of C major means that we wouldn't ever see any sharps or flats, but what it means is that the main notes that would make up that particular key are going to be confined to the notes we would find in the C major scale. Now, let's try a different one. What happens if we use that tone, tone, semitone sequence, but starting on a different key? So this time we're going to start on a G. I'm going to do the same, but watch what happens to one of my notes. So here's my G. Go up a tone, up a tone, up a semitone, up a tone, up a tone, up a tone. Now watch out, up a tone. So this is our semitone, this is our tone, and then up a semitone. Now did you notice that in this scale we had our first black key, which in this context is an F sharp. So our G scale sounds like the C scale, but it starts on G and it has an F sharp in it. So if we were playing a piece of music in the key of G, we would probably expect to see some F sharps in there because those notes are consistent with the scale that the key is based on. So that's what we mean when we sort of say, well, you know, we're playing a piece of music in the key of G. So therefore I would expect if I improvise something, so there you can see I did a little tune. I played in the key of G and I made sure to use my F sharp. If I hadn't have used the F sharp, it just didn't quite sound right. So that's what we mean by scales. That's what we mean by the key of the music. And you can do that with all of these. So you could start on a different note. You could start on D and you could count up your tones and semitones as I discussed. And that will introduce you to which notes should be in that scale, and therefore the notes we would expect to find in that particular key. So if someone says to you we're playing in D major, then I would know to expect F sharps and C sharps in there just because I know the scale. and you hopefully feel like you understand a little bit more about scales. Do let me know in the comments if that did answer your questions, but if you've still got some burning questions that you're not sure about, please also leave those and I will definitely make sure I reply to them. If you've enjoyed this video and you found it useful, then please do consider subscribing to the channel for more tutorials. Take care, bye.